Hi, my name is Will Connor, and Keith is actually the speaking man, but he's a little off under the weather tonight, so I have to go out of my comfort zone and address you folks. So what I've done is I've put together a PowerPoint presentation, which I'll hand out later. And it's basically titled, a look at healthcare reform and its impact to investors. Keith and I are financial advisors locally here for a local planning firm. And, you know, the mountain of regulation that surrounds our industry as financial advisors actually prohibits me from, you know, taking sides in any fight as it relates to a political debate. So I'm going to try to, even though I have opinions as myself, Will Connor, I feel strongly about this, I have to try to maintain a very unbiased, analytical stance on what I say tonight. So I'm going to use some pre-approved materials that are for public consumption. And after Keith passes out that PowerPoint, there's another piece here from Columbia Management, who is, there are investment, they manage the investment advisory function for the firm that I work for. And, excuse me, you have an extra one there? Now, I don't know, Pam, if you happen to have that PowerPoint on your laptop, I may all do this, so we can pull it up, or I can, if you can. No, I'll just wing it. Anyway, I think we've all seen from our speakers tonight that it's complicated, and you know, as a financial advisor, you know, first and foremost, if you know we have fiduciary responsibilities for our clients, and we have to give them, you know, long-range advice, and it's kind of hard with so many rods in the fire and so many things being changed at once to really have a very concise direction to give our clients. So we have to kind of, we call it the certainty of uncertainty. We have to educate our clients that we don't know exactly what's going to happen, and we don't have all the answers short term, and as a result we have to kind of plan for the worst and prepare for the, you know, hope for the best. Okay, in general, costs have skyrocketed over the past decade, and you know, there's a lot of pressures on the current government programs, and the biggest challenge is going to be containing the skyrocketing costs of health care coverage that face the already overstretched entitlement spending programs. So if you look at health care costs compared to workers' earnings, on you know, the graph that shows 160% increase over a period of time since 1999 versus workers' earnings that have grown 50%, you can kind of see the problem there. You know, the other issue in the general fiscal pressures that the government's facing is with the entitlements program, in particular Medicare. The number of workers per beneficiary are declining from, in 2010, even as recent as 2010, we had 3 to 4 workers paying into the system for each worker collecting, and now we're down to 2. We will be down to 2 by 2080. You know, it's decreasing. So what basically we have an aging population. If you go to the next page, you'll see that the U.S. population that's age 65 and above is going to double by 2050. And the next page, kind of, you know, we don't know exactly what's going to happen to taxes because, you know, we have this thing called the fiscal cliff where taxes are going to go up. So, I mean, we're basically in a scenario, we have to recommend to our clients as advisors that plan on taxes going up. And so as investors, how do we handle, what things can we do in an increasing tax environment? I mean, we'll get to some of the specific recommendations from an investment perspective later on, but let's look at some of the key elements of the legislation. Some of the provisions are phased out over the course of several years, so I guess some of the taxes that are going to come on us right away, we're already kicking into the system to pay, will eventually be phased out. This is what I was getting to, some of the feel-good things that have happened that everybody's touting, and here's, the thing with the 133% to 400% of the federal poverty level, where those subsidies will help the people to pay for the benefits that they can't afford them. Let's look at more, I'm trying to focus more on the tax session. Here's businesses, they're going to have mandates, and they're going to have penalties. So these penalties are going to they're squelching business development to some extent, because you're going to have basically a penalty for employees, because you have to provide them a Cadillac, or you have to provide them a certain mandated plan, and you expect. We're going to have increased taxes for payroll taxes. If you're a high wage earner, I don't know, by show of it, I don't know, even if you don't make over $200,000, you're going to be impacted by these increased taxes anyway. But if you happen to be one of the high wage earners and make over $200,000, specifically in 2013, which is next year, you're going to face an additional payroll tax increase from 1.45 for Medicare to 2.35. And here's kind of a big one for Keith and I, our investors. Anyone who's a married couple and makes over $250,000, any investment income that they make, in addition to the normal taxation, is going to be hit with an additional 3.8% tax on that investment income. And that could be the only types of investment income that's not impacted by that is muni bond tax-free income, or Roth IRA income. So, the big thing with Keith and I is, if you don't have, if you can get into a Roth IRA, highly recommended. It's, muni bonds, highly recommended.
And also, the year is coming to an end. We may tell clients, based on what's coming down from legislation right now, if it's going to be important to any unrealized gains you may have, maybe we realize them this year and not realize them next year because of the impact of wherever your brackets may fall. It's not just for the income earners over 200, 250, but brackets themselves will increase. And whether you're a direct impact or not, even those who are not directly impacted will see it across the board. You have to pay for different things, so you have to use taxes to do that. Again, we're not taking sides, as we said. We just try to take what comes from legislation, taxes, the tax cliff, and look at how we help the clients with their affairs.
But we do know that there's a lot of things outside of Obamacare that are also going on in parallel that are going to cause more taxation. And so any strategies that we recommend are based on, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but let's assume that taxes are going up, so you should prepare for that. And here's some of the other provisions. Here's some of the other problems. I don't know if any of you do flexible spending accounts, where a lot of times we're a corporation, you can have money taken out pre-tax to prepay for medical stuff. 2011, this year, you could not deduct non-prescription medical costs. You used to be able to use your flex spending account to pay for, eye drops and, cold medicine. Keith, you probably use some of that tonight, I guess, right? And non-prescription stuff. So what happened is they stripped that out of the flex spending account, so you can't deduct that. So some people are actually going to their doctor to get a prescription for things like eye drops and cold medicine so that they can deduct it from their flex spending account, which is, defeating the purpose, is adding more taxation to the medical profession, because they're going to busy already underserving. There's a supply and demand problem there now, as we've heard about, and so that's an issue. The deduction for medical expenses is going to be dropping. You used to be able to do anything over 7.5% of your income, you could deduct medical, and that's raised up to 10. So all of these little, seemingly small adjustments are really, it's kind of a mathematical analysis that was made of our current system, a way to extract enough money over the initial 4 or 5 years before the system really kicks in, to be able to fund all the, the additional feel goods that the plan provides. So it's kind of like, it's really all costs are passed now. There's no free lunch, and anything that comes out of this bill is really being paid for in some other way, by some sacrifice by some of us here. So
it's important to realize we're just giving you general information. Everybody in this room is in a different financial situation, so we just wanted to bring some attention to Roth IRAs, muni bonds, Connecticut bonds. Just don't go out there and assume, hey, these guys mentioned this. And we really encourage, sit with your advisor, ask us questions, whatever it may be, but this is just some general information.
Good point, Keith, because we don't know your individual circumstances, and we'd love to have you all as clients. And that's, in the meantime, we would make sure that we knew your individual circumstance before we recommend a specific investment.